Hey guys, I'm Mark from Portrait Spot and welcome to week 31 of the Premier League review. If you are new to this series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and we finish off by looking at the Premier League top goal scorers. So here is the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Tuesday the 4th and Wednesday the 5th of April 2017. Also next to the games are the times in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific game, just go to the time next to the match and you'll skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with Hull versus Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough took the lead in this one in the 5th minute when Alvaro Negredo put the ball ahead. It came just as Hull had the ball in the back of the net, but it was ruled out for offside, and Middlesbrough go up the other end with Alvaro Negredo, who played the ball to Adama Traore, who then drilled the ball in low into the box, and at the back post was Negredo sliding in and finding the back of the net. But Hull wouldn't let all that deter them as 5 minutes later they equalised through Lazar Markovic. It came when Andrew Robertson crossed the ball into the box and the Middlesbrough defenders just failed to deal with it, and it ended up with Ben Gibson making a massive mess of it, and it allowed Lazar Markovic to nip in and put the ball home for the leveller and his first goal since joining Hull on loan from Liverpool. And Hull would complete the comeback 50 minutes later when they took the lead, when yet again Ben Gibson makes it so easy for the Hull attackers when he tries to clear it, but he completely fluffs it, and in came Umar Nayasi, who took a touch and smashed the ball past Victor Valdez. And Hull continued to score as only 4 minutes later they put 2 goals between them and the Borough when they grabbed their third through Abel Hernandez. It came when Hull passed the ball around well, and it ended up with Kamil Grosicki pulling the ball back to Hernandez, and the Uruguayan finished first time from 8 yards out. But Middlesbrough would keep this game alive, as just before half time they reduced the deficit to 1 when Martin Darun got a go back. It came when a cross is put into the box, and after pinging around a bit it ends up with Darun rising above his man and heading home. But the goal shouldn't have stood, as in the play Borough defender Ben Gibson headed the ball across goal from an offside position, and that led to Darun scoring, so the goal shouldn't have counted. But Hull would re-establish their 2-goal lead in the 70th minute when Hull had a free kick. Andrew Robertson put the ball at the back post, and there to meet it was defender Harry Maguire, who planted his header in the far corner out of reach of Valdez. And that's how the game would end, a big game at the bottom of the table, as this could be the one that sends Borough down. But as for Hull, they picked up a big 3 points in their quest for survival, and with this result Middlesbrough remained in 19th and Hull jumped out of the bottom 3 as they rose to 17th. And we move on to Arsenal versus West Ham. It would take until the second half for one of these teams to take the lead, and it was Arsenal who did that in the 58th minute through Mesut Ozil. It was gifted to him on a plate when Jose Fonte makes a complete mess of it when he tries to clear a corner, but he instead played a perfect pass to Ozil, who then struck the ball with his left foot and the ball curled into the bottom corner. And Arsenal would double their lead 10 minutes later when Theo Walcott got the goal. It was a typical Arsenal goal when Mesut Ozil gave it to Alexis Sanchez, who then backheeled it straight back to the German, who then squared it for Theo Walcott, and Theo made no mistake as he finished from inside of the box. And Arsenal would put the game to bed in the 83rd minute when they added their third through Olivier Giroud. It came when the Arsenal substitutes combined as Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain gave it to Giroud, who then curled the ball with his left foot into the far corner. And that's how the game would end, a comfortable win in the end for Arsenal, who really should have been ahead in the first half, but as soon as the second half started you could tell that they were more hungry and realised that if they left it too late West Ham could try and catch them out. Really nothing that I can add about West Ham, because they were really poor in the end and they could face big problems come the end of the season, as they are only 5 points above the relegation zone. And with this result Arsenal jumped up to 5th and West Ham remained in 15th. And we move on to Swansea versus Tottenham. To everyone's surprise, Swansea took the lead in this game in the 11th minute when Jordan Ayew powers down the right hand side and he got around his man and then put the ball on a plate for former Tottenham man Wayne Routledge, who got a yard in front of a defender and was able to stab the ball home. And after that the game was dead. Nothing really happened until the dying moments of the game when Tottenham flipped the game on its head. It started in the 88th minute when Spurs level through Dele Alli. It came when a shot from another Spurs man is deflected, and that pretty much takes Lucas Fabianski out the equation, and it falls to Ali, who was in the right place to pick up the loose ball and poke into the empty net. And Tottenham would take the lead only 2 minutes later when Son Heung-min found himself in some space in the Swansea box and he's able to slide the ball underneath the out-rushing Fabianski as Spurs completed the comeback. And Spurs killed off the game only 2 minutes later when they got their third through Christian Eriksen. It came when the Swansea defenders go walkabouts and they leave Eriksen in a ton of space, and he easily finished to further crush Swansea's hopes and dreams. And that's how the game would end, and my heart goes out to Swansea. They were good in this game, and if I'm honest, Tottenham barely deserved the equaliser, but it seems that as soon as that went in, then the Swansea heads dropped and they made it too easy for Spurs, who pounced. With this result, Tottenham kept the title race alive as they stayed 7 points behind Chelsea in second, and Swansea dropped into the bottom 3 in 18th. And we move on to Southampton versus Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace took the lead in the 30th minute when their big striker Christian Benteke put Palace ahead. It came when Wilfried Zaha made a nuisance of himself and drew some Southampton defenders in and then handed the ball to Jason Punchin, who then played it to Andros Townsend, who was able to find Christian Benteke, and the big Belgian was able to finish off a great team move. But Southampton would level the scoring on the brink of half-time when Wilfried Zaha gave the ball away to Stephen Davis, who made his way down the right-hand side before crossing the ball at the back post for Nathan Redmond, who was able to put his shot past 4 defenders and into the back of the net. And Southampton would win the game in the 84th minute when they took the lead through Maya Yoshida. It came when Nathan Redmond does well to make some space for himself before playing the ball to Jack Stephen. Stephen was then able to lay the ball to Yoshida, who tucked the ball in. And Southampton would make sure that there was no way back for Palace as they got their third goal 2 minutes later through James Ward-Prowse. It was basically a carbon copy of the last goal, only this time it was Cedric Suarez putting it on a plate for Ward-Prowse, who tapped home easily. And that's how the game would end. Both teams looked like they had settled for a point, but obviously Southampton had other ideas. Looking at the stats, I'd probably say it was a deserved win in the end, but by no means was it a dominant win. But in the end, a win is a win, and Southampton will have no complaints. And with this result, Southampton jumped up to 9th, and Crystal Palace remained in 16th. And we move on to Liverpool versus Bournemouth. 10 minutes into the game, Liverpool do what Liverpool do best and gift an easy goal to the visitors when Bournemouth pounced on a Liverpool mistake. It came with Jorginho Wijnaldum attempts to play the ball back to Simon Mignolet, but he doesn't even look, and there waiting was Benik Afobe, who latched onto the loose ball and finished past Mignolet. And about this for a start, this was the first goal that Bournemouth have scored at Anfield in almost 50 years. But Liverpool would level the scoring in the 40th minute when the little magician Philippe Coutinho got on the score sheet. It came when Simon Mignolet boots the ball upfield and the header is won by Divock Origi into the path of Roberto Firmino. Firmino then fed the ball through to his Brazilian counterpart and Coutinho cushioned the ball into the bottom corner. And Liverpool would take the lead in the 60th minute when Jorginho Wijnaldum made up for his earlier mistake when he did some great work on the left before crossing the ball perfectly onto the head of Divock Origi, who headed home from point blank range. But Bournemouth would equalise in the 86th minute through Joshua King. It came when the ball came back into the Liverpool box when it was struck towards goal, but it was blocked. However, Joshua King was able to latch onto it, turned his man and buried the ball into the corner. And that's how the game would end. Yet again, Liverpool failed to deal with teams from the bottom half of the table. But Bournemouth did well to not only deal with Liverpool, but put them under pressure in the first half especially. But with this result, Liverpool added another point to their tally in their quest for top 4, and they remained in 3rd, whereas Bournemouth hopped up to 13th. And we move on to Chelsea versus Manchester City. Chelsea took the lead 10 minutes into the match through Eden Hazard. It was a pretty simple goal as a Chelsea player cuts the ball back across the goal, and on the end of it was the Belgian who struck the ball first time into the back of the net. But Manchester City would equalise in the 25th minute through their main striker Sergio Aguero. It came following an absolute howler from Chelsea keeper Thibaut Courtois, who cleared it straight to David Silva, who then charged at the Chelsea goal and made his way into the box before unleashing the shot, which Courtois initially saves, but it fell straight to Aguero, who tucked into the empty net. But Chelsea would have the perfect opportunity to retake the lead when they were given a penalty. It came when Pedro made his way into the box before being brought down by Fernandinho, and the referee pointed to the spot. Eden Hazard stepped up to take it, but his penalty is saved as he put the ball left and Caballero went the same way. However, the ball fell straight back to Hazard, who was able to sweep home the rebound. And that's how the game would end, and Pep Guardiola is having the worst season of his life. No, literally. This is the first time in his managerial career that he has lost 6 games in a season, so take that as you will. City had the better chances in the second half, but Chelsea were able to hold on and secure a vital win in their quest to secure that Premier League trophy. With this result, Chelsea stayed on the top of the league, maintaining that 7-point league, and Manchester City stayed in 4th. And we move on to Leicester versus Sunderland. The game was pretty dead in the first half, and the first bit of action we're talking about came in the 70th minute when Leicester took the lead. It came when the Leicester substitutes link up when Mark Albrighton crossed the ball in from the left, and Islam Slimani was on the end of it to power the header into the net for his first goal since December. And Leicester would double their lead only 8 minutes later when yet again Mark Albrighton sets the goal up as he picks up the ball from the halfway line and then just charges forward before crossing the ball low into the box, and on the end of it was Jamie Vardy who finished past the keeper. And that's how the game would end, and I think that has pretty much wrapped up both teams' seasons. Leicester, they're now looking comfortable and are looking almost guaranteed to have Premier League football next season, and Sunderland are looking like the first team who will be a confirmed championship team next season. With this result, Leicester jumped up to 10th, but they could jump back down with teams still to play on the Wednesday, and obviously Sunderland are still planted to the bottom of the table. And we move on to Watford versus West Brom. Watford took the lead in this match in the 12th minute when Niang put them ahead when he scored a belter. It came when Troy Deeney flicked on a ball for Niang, and Niang put the ball onto his right foot before striking the ball, and it flew into the top corner and it left Ben Foster with no chance. And Watford would double their lead just after half time when their captain Troy Deeney got on the score sheet. It came just after we all thought West Brom were going to get back into it as they looked promising, but Watford nipped that in the bud quickly when they broke as Niang put a long ball over the top, and Troy Deeney outpaces two West Brom defenders before chesting the ball down and putting it over the goal line. But despite the 2-goal lead, Watford would have a massive disadvantage for the last 30 minutes as they got reduced to 10 men when Miguel Blitos got sent off when he brought down Solomon Rondon, and the referee pulled out the second yellow and the Uruguayan headed off early. But that's how the game would end. West Brom couldn't really make anything even with the man advantage as Watford coped well and they came away with all the points that they deserved. With this result, West Brom are still in 8th, a position that they have been in since December, whilst Watford moved up one place and they are just behind in 9th. And we move on to Manchester United versus Everton. Everton had the majority of the possession for the opening quarter of the game, and they made that possession count when they took the lead in the 20th minute. It came when an Everton corner is put into the box, and on the end of it was Ashley Williams, who headed towards the far post where Phil Jagielka was, but the ball goes over him, and despite having his back towards goal and having United defender Marcus Rojo on him, he somehow manages to flick the shot past David De Gea with the heel of his boot as he put the visitors ahead. And it looked like it was going to end with Everton taking all 3 points away from Old Trafford, but Manchester United would get the perfect chance to equalise when they were given a penalty in the 93rd minute. It came when Luke Shaw took a shot that was goal bound and Ashley Williams blocked it with his arm, and the referee pointed to the spot and Ashley Williams was sent straight off. Zlatan Ibrahimovic stepped up to take it and he sent the keeper the wrong way and he saved a point for United. And that's how the game would end. Manchester United are very lucky there that Ashley Williams made that mistake, as he did look like he was going for the header, but it missed his head and struck his arm. Everton played very well and United, they just didn't. They looked like they had no idea what they were doing and they got let out of jail from the Swedish superstar. But with this result, Everton are left in 7th and Manchester United were in 5th, but they dropped down to 6th due to the Arsenal result. And finally, we've got Burnley versus Stoke. Nothing really happened in the game apart from the goal that ended up winning the game when Burnley took the lead through George Boyd. It came from basically Burnley's first chance when Jeff Hendrick beat a couple of Stoke players and got into the box and then put the ball on a plate for Boyd, who swept the ball home. And that's how the game would end, and I'm not sure how Stoke haven't got at least a point from this one, as Stoke were the better side for probably most of the game, but Burnley did well to break down the Stoke defence and snuffed out any Stoke attack, and they held on for a vital win. And with this result, Stoke dropped down to 11th and Burnley moved up to 12th, but they could drop a few places with a lot of teams still to play on the Wednesday. Right, so that's all the games I've got for you this week. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Starting with the top 5, and as you can see, Chelsea are on the top following their win against Man City. Tottenham is 2nd following that mental finish against Swansea. Liverpool are 3rd after being held by Bournemouth. Manchester City are 4th following their loss to Chelsea, and Arsenal are back in the top 5 after beating their London rivals West Ham. Moving on to the bottom 5, and Sunderland are still at the bottom following yet another loss, this time to Leicester. Middlesbrough 19th after that mad game against Hull. Swansea drop into the bottom 3 after their loss to Tottenham. Hull move out of the bottom 3 for the first time since December after beating Borough. And Crystal Palace are in 16th following their loss to Southampton. Moving on to the Premier League top goal scorers, and as you can see, Romelu Lukaku is still on top despite not scoring for a couple of games now. He's on 21 goals and 6 assists. Harry Kane is still 2nd. He's not scoring for a while as he's out with injury. He's on 19 goals and 4 assists. Alexis Sanchez is 3rd. He didn't score this week. He's on 18 goals and 9 assists. Diego Costa is 4th. He didn't score this week either. He's on 17 goals and 5 assists. And making up the top 5 is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who added a goal to his tally this week against West Brom. That moved him up to 16 goals and 4 assists. Right, so that's all I've got for you this week. If you did drop a shot, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back next Tuesday for the next episode of the Premier League Review. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can. The link is in the description, or it's at @partialsport_. If you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my personal channel, you can. The links to those are in the description as well. All my channels should be popping on your screen round about now. But anyway, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I'll see you soon.